Hello, everyone, and welcome to the seventh edition of Cannon Chat. Tonight, we were meant to be joined with Rob, but sadly, it's just me and Warren this evening. I'm just assuming, and I'm hoping that Rob isn't in any serious trouble. Maybe just a case of, I'm sure Woz will tell you, maybe one too many Jaeger bombs yesterday. But Woz, how you doing, mate? Quality day out yesterday.
It was a cracking day from start to finish, and even though it's essentially a pre-season friendly, it's just nice to be back in the groove, down the pub with all your mates, talking about the football, and then it's back, isn't it? It's back.
Exactly, mate. And from a fan's perspective, as a match-going fan, how important is it that not just you're a part of the game, but that whole going to the pub, getting involved, that atmosphere? I mean, how would you sum that up? Because it was such a good day yesterday.
Yeah, it's just I think we've had so long without it in the summer, and you forget how much you miss it really. And I've got mates at the Arsenal, and we all have that. You don't really see them during the summer. It's quite funny. Like you'd see them every single week, and you class them as really good mates. But yeah, getting back down the Arsenal and soaking up the atmosphere, the feeling of being involved, the feeling of getting down there and seeing everyone and getting behind the Arsenal, and especially with a North London derby against Chelsea, the champions. So
North London derby, mate. You
oh,
sure?
sorry, mate. Bloody hell, North London. Yeah, no, yeah, London derby against Chelsea, and it's just great. It's nice to, like we say, we go down there, and I think you said one too many Jaegers. I think we're a bit out of practice.
I'm hoping it's that with Rob. I mean, it could be one of many things, but given how he was, but I left at 8 o'clock yesterday, and given how he was at that point, and you're telling me that you stayed on for a few more hours. I mean,
Yeah.
it was absolutely buzzing yesterday. That little parish pub we went to, absolutely loved it in there. But I'm curious from my perspective, what was it you and Rob went on to do afterwards, after I'd gone?
To be honest with you, mate, it's a bit of a blur. I don't know how we spent so long in that. The music come on, and yeah, we were just having a good time. You know what I mean? Enjoying the victory, and looking forward to Friday really now, because that sort of is the main event at the start of the season. But we had a cracking day, and it's always good to be down there, and you can't beat being at the football, mate.
How did your other mate get on in the end? You seem to be a bit all over the place by the time I left.
He's a good old boy, and he don't mind a beer, But yeah, it's just nice, and it's great that we could end the day with victory, because it just sweetens everything up, doesn't it?
Out of curiosity, what time are you planning to get to the pub on Friday?
Um, I don't know, maybe 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, depend. Maybe
Naughty little
half
day
one.
sesh.
We'll,
I
we'll
like that,
see.
mate.
Yeah, we'll have a little have a little thing and enjoy it. There'll be a lot more people down the 12 pins I ain't seen all summer, so it'll be nice to catch up. And I probably won't hit the Jaegers this time though. I must be honest.
Yeah, you say that now. I think we both know come Friday that's a given. I mean, I like today curing a hangover. Naughty little Capri Sun, as per the
As
Cannon Chat
always.
sponsor, Capri Sun. Hopefully one day. But yeah, that's enough talk. That's enough pub talk aside. Let's get on to what people want to listen to, and that is, of course, the football. It's a glorified friendly, the Community Shield. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't regard it as a trophy. I'm pretty sure you don't either. I'm pretty sure that a lot of sensible thinking Arsenal fans do not regard this as an honour as such. I know that technically it goes down as one, but also technically the games are friendly. So a bit of confusion with regards to that. But at the end of the day, we've won a game against fierce rivals, and there's nothing friendly about Arsenal versus Chelsea. And as much as we say that this game doesn't matter, it's a big confidence boost going into the start of the season. We've got that game coming up on Friday against Leicester. For you, how vital was it that we got a win under our belts yesterday?
Yeah, I think, and the performance as well, because realistically, throughout pre-season, we've looked okay in Spurs. We haven't really seen a performance, and it's been very mishmash, and the lineups and everything, which you expect in pre-season. It's all about getting fitness, and this for me was another game on the way towards Friday. But just touching on it being a friendly as such, I really wish they would change it and make it the English Super Cup. I really do, and make it a credible honour, because I don't see why not. You've got the European Super Cup in Spain, and that they take it massively seriously. It's a really big event. So I think they should, going forward in the future, maybe make it a major honour, because at the end of the day, it is the FA Cup winners against the champions, and it is sort of the season opener, sort of the curtain raiser. So from our point of view, it was just nice to see players playing in their positions, a more structured 11, despite missing so many players. And it was just, personally, I don't know what you thought, but I thought it was a good, honest, tough game. It was high intensity, high tempo. It was very enjoyable watch. And it really did feel like football was back.
Yeah, I just before we get on to the performance from Arsenal and the one from Chelsea, I'm totally inclined to agree with you on that point you make about making it a kind of Super Cup where it is taken with a bit more seriousness. Because as much as it was wonderful to win the tournament yesterday, when you hear Arsenal McDonald's Charity Shield winners 2017, it's hard to take that with a degree of seriousness. But again, we're lifting a piece of silverware. I might sound slightly contradictory, but it's always nice going to Wembley, seeing Arsenal go up on the grandstand, and you could tell it wasn't the same sort of enthusiasm the players had when they won the FA Cup. But winning breeds winning, and I hope that this will spark off a positive performance against Leicester. And the performance yesterday, forget what game it was aside, I thought Arsenal played really, really well with a depleted team. I don't know about you, Warren, but when I saw that team lineup, I was caught in two minds. When I saw that we were starting Iwobi and Welbeck behind Lacazette, when I saw Oxlade-Chamberlain playing at left wing back, although he had a very good game there in the cup final, I was a bit sceptical to see players being played out of position so early on. The back three was the only thing that really filled me with confidence. But apart from that, it was a bit of a disjointed team. What did you make of the starting 11 when you first saw it? Because, well, I know what your reaction was, but tell the viewers.
Panic. To be fair, I'm not the best when the lineup comes out anyway. But yeah, like you said, it was a bit of a. It just weren't really what was expected. We're missing so many players. Alexis, missing Ozil, Ramsey, Koscielny, and I was surprised Koscielny didn't play any part at all, because really he's not gonna have a kick of the ball for another. Well, he's going to miss the Stoke game, isn't he? And he's going to miss the game on Friday against Leicester. So he's not really going to have a kick of the ball for another sort of 2-3 weeks. So I thought it was a good chance to give him some minutes. But yeah, he put out the side, and to be fair, despite it not being our strongest 11, they battled. They looked strong. They looked quick. They looked fit. I think we stood up man for man with Chelsea, and too often in the past we've sort of been bullied out of games. But I thought we looked physical, and certainly with players like Xhaka and Kolasinac and Welbeck, we were a bit more. I don't know, just a bit more about us, I think, and it's nice to see, and especially when I know the quality that we're missing, what we've got to come back in. We've got every reason to be excited for Friday, and every reason to be excited for the season, really, because it's nice to see people like Iwobi perform. I thought Mohamed El Neni had his best game in an Arsenal shirt. I thought there were quite a few good, decent performances, and we done well to go toe to toe with Chelsea. We were also obviously missing a few players as well, but yeah, it was a good, honest game of football.
Just highlighting that back three where we started with Monreal, Mertesacker and Rob Holding. Looks like quite a strong back three on paper. I mean, it's the same back three that started in the cup final. And although Mertesacker got that knock, Gary Cahill giving him an elbow, I would have thought he'd be all right to be playing in that Leicester game. For you, is that the sort of ideal back three for these upcoming games?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not aware of the fitness of Mustafi. I'm not too sure whether he'll be available Friday, but yeah, that really probably is the strongest, providing Per's fit. He's got a good few staples in his head, hasn't he? I see it was quite a big gash. I didn't realise at the time how serious it was, mate. But I thought they were just taking him off as a precaution for the head injury. But obviously, he said the doctor's advice, absolutely no chance you can carry on. So, but yeah, hopefully he's fit enough for Friday. And with that back three, I mean, we're a bit short of options without Mustafi, without Koscielny. Callum Chambers, obviously, I'm surprised he weren't involved at all. Maybe that is definitely signalling the end of him at Arsenal Football Club. So maybe you can write him off. But also, if Per doesn't make it, we could be looking at Kolasinac slotting in like he did into that role.
I'd be disappointed. I know we're going to get on to talking about Kolasinac later, but I'd be disappointed to see him play at left centre back. I know that he had an absolutely wonderful game there yesterday, but for me, he is twice the player, and we saw what he could do yesterday, getting forward time after time again. The way he plays on that left flank, he's got so much about him. To play him at centre back, for me, I don't know about you, but I think that'd just be wasting him.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And he's an animal, and he's so good to have someone like him in the team. He's full of grit, determination. He's an absolute unit of a guy. He looks like Julio Baptista size, but he plays as a wing back, and you cannot believe that he gets up and down, and he's as big as he is. And he's the kind of man that would run for a brick wall, and you know it. And I'm not sure what the old celebration was about. I'm not too sure.
I don't know what he was up to the night before.
I don't know what he was doing. But that's up to him what he does in his own time. But my God, he put in a real shift, and he's warming to the task. And you can see that he's game by game he's getting fitter and fitter, and he just fits in, don't he? And he gives us something that, like I was saying, sometimes we're accused of being a bit lightweight, but yeah, he's a powerful, powerful athlete, and he's only going to get better for Arsenal. And the best thing was he was a free transfer, which is astonishing, really.
Out of curiosity, how much do you think we'd be paying for a guy of Kolosevic's quality if he wasn't on a free transfer?
It's interesting because you see people like Carl Walker, he's going for £50 million.
Yeah, I mean, look at Benjamin Mendy. Look at the price he went for, 52
that's what I
million
mean.
quid.
You got to be looking. You probably would be looking at the high 30s, early 40s, really, for a player of his ability that we've seen so far. So, hats off to Arsene Wenger there, because it's a fantastic bit of business. He's really saved us £40 million there, and he's got a player for the next sort of 4 years he looks like he could really, really kick on, and it's great for squad depth as well, and he's great with his versatility that he's shown that he could just slot in at centre back if need be as well, much like Nacho Monreal. So Nacho again is a very, very, very good player, but also, like you said, about just he gives that bit extra, doesn't he? He's got a bit more oomph about him, and he's a frightening geezer.
Yeah, let's Nacho Monreal wasn't talked about enough yesterday. He played in the middle of that three, and it was unreal. How good was Nacho Monreal's performance yesterday, mate? Once you finish,
it's very. It's so easy to underappreciate someone who is essentially he's a left wing back, and it's so difficult to adapt your position, especially to centre half, which is a completely different ball game. He just got down and ball playing centre back. Looked like he had played there his whole life, which is a great credit to him. And Wenger in the past has done it with players like Sanya, and he's used players at centre back often. But Monreal really does impress me every game I see him. And Kieran Gibbs as well. He looks like he's probably out of the club, but we've got options there, and you got to say fair play to Nacho. So I'm happy with him, and I wouldn't feel at all discomfortable with either of them two slotting in at centre back or either of them two playing left wing back. So it's good options, and it's a nice place to be in especially with on the other side we've got Hector Bellerin and Ox, so we can battle it out, and it's nice to have a bit of rotation, bit of strength there, and we know if we get in one injury, we're not going to be in as much trouble as previous years. I mean, especially with right wing back, we've often left ourselves so short and seen Gabriel out there, Chambers out there for years. So hopefully that bit of depth, that bit of rotation with all the games we're going to have this season, it should work quite well.
Regarding the players that weren't in the team yesterday, so the likes of Koscielny, Callum Chambers, Jack Wilshere, etc., players that apart from Koscielny, we think may well be leaving the club this summer. How much can we read into their absences from yesterday's game?
Yeah, I definitely think with Chambers and Gibbs, that spoke volumes really. Especially Callum Chambers, I feel a bit sorry for him.
About Chambers, a real shame if he lost.
I like Chambers a hell of a lot. I don't want to lose him, but he's at the stage of his career where he really does need to play football. He had a good loan last season at Middlesbrough. It worked well for him. He was a fan's favourite up there. He'd done really well, and he's come back. And I'd like to see him get minutes, but it's tough. It really is tough because Rob Holding's emerged. But again, I don't want to see him go, especially if we're going to stick with the three centre backs, because the depth
he could work there so well.
Important.
I think that he honestly could slot into that right centre back role so well. And one thing he's got that I'd say Callum Chambers doesn't is that kind of technical ability to link up play that bit more. Even in that 20 minutes he played in the Emirates Cup, that ball he hoofed over the top, well not hoofed, but played over the top, was unreal. He played some unbelievable.
He's very comfortable
in that game. And I think he'll be even more comfortable in that right centre-back role. He's had a difficult time at Arsenal. That game against Swansea, it put him in a really bad light. Let's not forget his first game, that one against Crystal Palace, his first competitive game. He did really well in the Community Shield against City, but then that game against Palace where he partnered Koscielny, brilliant in that game, brilliant from there on in. It's just a shame that he's kind of been, I feel like he's been toyed with a little bit, playing at right-back, playing at centre-back, goes out on loan to Borough. I would say if we are going to not ship him out, I would hope we put him on a loan deal, because at 22 years of age, it is no age for a centre-half. He's got a decade, if not more, ahead of him. You look at Koscielny, 10 years older than him. He's got his best years ahead of him, no doubt whatsoever. Defenders mature like a fine wine, especially centre-halves. So I honestly think that if we got rid of him, then in 3 years' time, it could bite us on the back, because we could be looking at a centre-half that could be playing week in, week out for England, and he's been... talks about for transfer fees about 50 million quid. And I don't think that's me being reactionary at all. I really do think that he's a guy that has got a massive future. And to waste him at the age of 22, I think would be a real shame. And I think it would be awful business from Arsenal if we were to get rid of him. But, it all comes down to competition, places in the team. And at the minute, Rob Holding has made that right centre back role his own with Kolasinac coming into the team, with Mertesacker, back fit and raring to go. It's difficult. But I mean, what do you think about Chambers? Do you think that he's got the capabilities to be playing regularly for Arsenal?
I think you hit the nail on the head, really. He come in when he started at the Arsenal. I remember we played in the Champions League qualifier away from home, and he was a warrior, absolute warrior. And he is a ball-playing centre-half. I think he's great on the ball, and we need that, especially with his three at the back. It's vital that they're going to be people like Mustafi, good at playing ball through the lines. Chambers is good at playing through the lines. Rob Holding is picking it up. Per's comfortable in possession. We really do need that from our three centre-backs. And yeah, I'd be gutted to see him go. But like I said, it's all about him playing football, really. And a loan deal, yes, I'd much prefer a loan deal rather than selling him because, like you say, I think it'd be a shame to lose him, mate. But I think there's minutes for him to be had at the Arsenal this season. There is for everyone because we're going to have a lot of games and I want to compete on all fronts.
Do you think it's maybe similar to the case of Jack Wilshere last season when he was kind of he was left out of the England squad and he reacted to that in a bad way and he wanted to get out of the club, kind of sharpish, play for another team where he'd play week in, week out. Sort of backfired because he's only been in the England team once or twice since, I believe. Do you think it could be similar with Callum Chambers in the sense that if he feels he's not going to get the game time, then he will leave the club? But on the flip side, last season we could have done with Jack Wilshere in so many games. So I think Chambers has got to look at that and think, well, I'll let you answer the question, mate.
Well, yeah, I do. I think he's got to make a decision. And personally, if Arsene Wenger's willing to keep him and give him minutes, I think it's a no-brainer. He should stay at the club and want to fight for his place. And I personally think he will want to do that. And again, you mentioned Jackie Wilshere there. He's in exactly the same scenario. I'd love to keep him. The option he gives, none of our midfielders are going to play, and none of them. So there's certainly opportunities, especially against lesser opposition when Jack could probably sit in and replace Granit Xhaka for give him a rest for certain games. So there's going to be options and there's going to be games. So it's such a thing for Arsene Wenger to manage this squad correctly. And Callum Chambers has to stay for me. And same as Jack, I'll definitely keep him on. I know we're talking about the wage structure and the wage bill and all that, but if we want to compete on all fronts, we need the depth, we need the meat to this squad.
Exactly, mate. I'm in total agreement with you. And with the Europa League, especially, we've got a brilliant platform to say to the likes of Wilshere, Chambers, and co. Look, we've got the Europa League. You're going to get minutes in this when we want to give more senior players a rest. And if you do well, then there's no reason why you can't break into the first team. If Ramsey goes through a bad patch, why can't Jack Wilshere come and fill in? Even players like El Nene yesterday, who had a cracking game, I thought. Oxlade-Chamberlain playing out of position yesterday had a very good game at left wing back. I mean, lots of positives to take. Iwobi as well. This squad really does seem to be coming into its own at the minute. But I know we've said that time and time again. But I mean, one thing we've often spoke about is the mentality of the club. Do you think that going into this season, that is looking like it's beginning to change?
No. Sorry to cut it so short. No, I'm a bit. I still think we do need to go out and buy probably 2 or 3. I think that be leaving ourselves short yet again. Just not too sure. We've got a lot of players, but what it required. We look at central midfield. We all know we could probably do with another central midfielder. I think we're a Granit Xhaka injury away from being in a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'd like to see us sign another attacking forward. But look, it's a big season for Arsene Wenger. He's been given this contract despite last season's failures. Obviously, we did win the cup, so that's great. But realistically, probably not at any other club would he have got his deal. So it's a huge season for him. It's a huge season for a lot of our players. So there's a lot of people. This could be the last year of Ozil and Alexis. So look, it's massive for Arsenal Football Club this season. We all know that on our day we can beat anyone, and we've proven that. We've beat the champions quite a few times over the last few seasons. I think Arsene has got to manage his squad correctly. You've got to look after players and make sure we don't burn players out. He's been guilty of that in the past with people like Santi, playing him non-stop, running him into the ground. In the end, it comes back to bite us. So I do think we have got depth to the squad, but some of the players, I'm just not too sure whether they're off the level required to push us onto the title. But we've got options, and I like us this season. I just hope that we can perform on a consistent basis.
Just going back to yesterday's game, were you slightly surprised by Chelsea's performance? I don't think they did anything to really set the ground alight. I thought they had a very, very flat game. Apart from Moses' goal, I can't think of any particular clear-cut chances they created. And how well have we done to actually beat this Chelsea side? I know they didn't have Bakayoko, Morata, and Hazard starting this game, but as well as that, we didn't have Aaron Ramsey, Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, Koscielny, Mustafi. How well have we done to beat Chelsea? And as I said originally, how surprised were you by their poor performance?
Yeah, I think we shocked them a bit with our intensity. I think we looked very fit. We looked quite strong. We weren't pushed over. Like I mentioned before, often too many times against these big sides, we just looked like boys against men. I remember Stamford Bridge going there, and every time you play on there, you just think it was pathetic. Like we just wilt. And yeah, we were high intensity. We were pressing high. We were moving the ball better than I've seen us move the ball for a long, long time. Simple, but it was like Arsene Wenger football of old, where we was getting possession, moving players. Iwobi and El Neni were linking very well. We were moving the ball nice and fast, and that's what the Arsenal we like to see best. And we had that great counter attack in the first half that Lacazette got massively involved in, and it's nice to see him contributing in open play like that. And he was very, very unlucky not to score. But we moved the ball so simply across the pitch, across to Welbeck, back to Laka, and he got it out of his feet and curled it, hit the post. That's the Arsenal we like to see. Fast, move the ball well, move the ball intelligently. There's always an option available, and I think we were just too good for Chelsea at times. But it was a really good game without being full of loads of quality, if you know what I mean. I think it was a good watch, and there was big tackles going in.
Old-fashioned sort of game.
We shocked them a little bit.
Yeah, no, as I say, I agree with you there entirely. But Lacazette is someone that I think divided opinion yesterday. Apart from that shot where he hit the post, his link-up play generally was quite good. But apart from that, didn't do anything to particularly overly impress. Again, I think Rob made a really great point yesterday, and I'm pretty sure he'd be saying it now if he was on the panel. That he's come from Lyon. He's not played at any other club. He's been there since the age of 9. It's going to take him a good couple of months to settle into this Arsenal team. £50 million, I think, is a very inflated transfer for someone of his quality. But I'm hoping that he prevails and he does as well as he possibly can do for Arsenal Football Club. He's that option we've needed that's so different to Olivier Giroud. I think it will take him time to bed in. But from your perspective, from where you were sitting, what did you make of the performance of Alexander Lacazette?
Yeah, you just want to see him gain confidence and, for me, get more involved in general play. And he did that a bit more, but you can see that there's something there. And like you said, Rob made that point, and he's spot on for a player to be at a club from 9 years old to change everything, the warm up, the daily routine, everything changes, and it's going to be difficult for him to adapt. But unfortunately, for £50 million, you need him to adapt pretty quickly. And in there, once he gets his first goal in the Premier League, the balls start rolling. Hopefully, we can get a nice penalty on Friday and let him take that and just take the weight of the first competitive goal off straight away in the first league game of the season. That'd be lovely for him. But yeah, he's and to be fair to him, we still haven't yet seen him play with Alexis and Ozil behind. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see when we do have that.
Sorry, I think he'll be really good. Really good when Theo Walcott comes back into the team. If Walcott is, to earn a starting berth back in the Arsenal side, then Walcott Lacazette, I see that potentially being quite a significant link up. I don't know about you.
Hello,
mate. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh no, I don't know what happened.
Don't worry, mate. No, I was a bit worried you were going. It was kind of going a bit similar to what happened with Tom last hangout, where it was kind of dipping. I'm on edge. I'm asking you this question, and then I'm suddenly thinking, oh god, he's going to be there to answer it. But you're there, mate. All right, quality. So I don't know if you heard me, but I was saying about Lacazette and Walcott potentially being quite a good link up. Two players that I reckon can play to each other's strengths. Both very, very pacey, deadly going forward. I know any back four, back three wouldn't want to come up against those two. Do you think that Theo Walcott is a player that, at the moment, I think it's quite clear he's not first choice. We're still kind of trying to adapt him into this system. I thought he looked very sharp when he came on yesterday, by the way. Took his penalty brilliantly. Do you think that he could potentially get a role back in this Arsenal team?
I think that's the beauty of not just Theo. I think that the beauty of all of the attacking players, they all offer something a bit different. Danny Welbeck's super direct. Theo Walcott's got really intelligent movement. He's a killer. He does very little in general play, but what he does do is he gets in goal-scoring positions and he creates and makes chances happen. Lacazette, he's short, he's small, he's sharp, he's dynamic, he can score. Olivier Giroud is complete opposite, 6'4", built like a brick house. Like, he's a big old guy. He's hard to deal with. Offers something completely different, and it's nice to see. Then you've got the guile and the skill and the elusiveness of Ozil. Then you've got the excitement and the Sanchez, who just wants the ball all the time. So we've got so many different options. And like you said, I mean, I don't think we're worried about minutes, because we're definitely going to have situations. I mean, if you're looking at a bench and we need a goal, and you're looking at bringing on Giroud, Walcott and Welbeck, I mean, who's going to want to play against that? Let's be brutally honest. After 70 minutes of being given the runaround with people like Alexis, Ozil and Lacazette, to bring on people as powerful and it's a different style of player, it's going to be so difficult to deal with. So the depth is definitely there, and it's something we should be excited about. And that's without even mentioning Alex Iwobi, who had a good game. We've got people like, I know Lucas Perez is still at the club, but obviously he's on his way out. And Joel Campbell, I mean, when he's back from injury, will he play a part this season? We've got like Europa League games and that. So you think he's gone?
Yeah, no, I can't see a future for Joel Campbell at Arsenal Football Club. Given that Lucas Perez went from number 9 to number 28, which is Joel Campbell's number, I think there is absolutely no way that Joel Campbell's got a future at Arsenal, which is a shame, because he's a bit.
I think with that injury, he'd have gone.
What was his injury? Out of curiosity.
Well, I think they thought originally it was supposed to be more severe than it is, and he's back. He's back, sort of almost running already. And I think they thought he was going to be out for sort of till Christmas, but it seems like he's coming back sooner rather than later. So whether they can conclude a deal to ship him out before the window closes, I'm not too sure, mate. But yeah, we just got such a variety of playing styles and different techniques and different paces and different tempo. It's going to be really exciting to see. And when you look at the power and the pace that our wing backs are going to offer us as well, we're not going to be a nice team to play against. I'm telling you that now, mate.
No, that's one thing that certainly excites me about Arsenal this season, is the amount of physicality we've got within the team. Everyone's talking about United. They've got Fellaini, they've got Lindelof, they've got all these really powerful, exciting, maybe not technically gifted footballers, but what we've got in Mustafi, Xhaka, Kolasinac, Giroud, Welbeck as well, we're building a very powerful side that can adapt to different formations and different systems, and that's something that we've lacked. We've lacked that brute force, that brutality going forwards. We've kind of lacked that desire and hunger, and I think someone like just Kolasinac is a brilliant example of how football has to be played at times. The way that he rose above to win that header yesterday, absolutely brilliant. And I know that he was unmarked, and it's probably the easiest goal he's ever going to score in his career, but he's got so much desire, and that's what I love about this team. And we spoke about Kolasinac earlier, but one player that won man of the match yesterday who was absolutely superb, Granit Xhaka. Unbelievable game, and he had some absolutely storming games towards the end of last season. And I can't wait for Aaron Ramsey to be alongside him. Not to discredit El Nene, had a great game on the day, but Xhaka, Ramsey, for me, we spoke about it a lot last season, and particularly at the start, and you made some excellent points that that's going to be the future of our midfield, and it's looking more and more evident if that can happen. And then with options like El Nene, Wilshere, maybe Cazorla when he's back, if that happens. Our midfield is looking exciting, I have to say. But Xhaka in particular yesterday, unbelievable game. Completed, I believe, 100% of his passes. Sensational. He was unreal in the midfield. And I put a tweet out saying that I think, maybe like Rob, I'd had one too many Jaeger bombs myself, but I honestly think that he could potentially be a contender for Player of the Season next year. If we're looking at the likes of N'Golo Kante being Player of the Season again, then I think there's no reason why Granit Xhaka can't be. I think he's got all the attributes in this new system, in this midfield. If he remains injury-free, he could be a shining light in not just this Arsenal team, but in the Premier League. Going off of yesterday's performance, I don't want to be reactionary, but everything I've seen about him towards the end of last season, towards the start of this season, I'm so excited about Granit Xhaka, and I'll let you go on, Woz, because I know you're a massive, massive fan of the guy.
I am, mate. I am. And he's had that season under his belt. People worried about him being a bit one-paced, a bit slow. They're worried about our whole midfield being a bit slower. I don't see that problem at all. And I think Granit Xhaka sitting in there, his intelligence, his ability to play through the lines, to play long balls. He can go short, long. He can better and better and better every game. And the protection with the three centre-backs is huge. It's so vital to him because it allows him to be the first receiver. And it helps with the ball-playing centre-backs that sometimes we can bypass him and it's laid back to him. he lets the ball do the work, which is fantastic about him. You could compare him to people like Xavi Alonso and Pirlo, and people and spray the ball because he has got range of pass. And like you said yesterday, to complete 100% pass over 90 minutes in a game against the champions is absolutely superb. He's not reserved with his passing. He doesn't play simplistic balls. He's always looking to be progressive. And he for me is probably at the moment in the squad the most irreplaceable player, because if Xhaka, touch wood, gets injured, then we have got no one who can play like him and sit in and be that ball playing guy. And he's the kind of man that he's growing and growing and growing, and he's still young, but he's captain material, mate, long term. And he's a cracking footballer. And it's going to be good to get someone with the legs alongside him. Like you said, Elneny had a very, very good game yesterday, but Wiltshire could play well alongside him. Personally, I'll be looking to bring in maybe another central midfielder, but yeah, I'm a huge Xhaka fan, and he's only going to get better and better and better. And he's got this. You can see it in him. You can see the desire. You can see the fight. You can see that he shot off anyone, and it's really good to have a player like that slap bang in the middle of the pitch, because, like you said, far too many occasions we've been overrun in the middle of the park, but I just don't see that happening anymore with Granit Xhaka in there.
No doubt. And with the likes of Ramsey, Xhaka himself, Jack Wilshere, I mean, touchwood, he remains injury-free and he remains on the club this season. We've got a plethora of players there that are in their mid-20s. So we've got a midfield, potentially, if it all works out, sorted for the next 5 years. I am very inclined to agree that we should sign another midfielder. Seri would be an absolutely brilliant signing, but if we can't get him, then I think we need to bring someone in, if not promote someone from the youth team, because we are, as you say, it is a bit worrying if we do see Xhaka get injured, because we are starting to become very, very dependent on him. I don't think that's a huge problem, because he does keep us ticking over. He's that midfield general, similarly to, not to compare him to Patrick Vieira in terms of playing style, but importance to the squad, he's vital. So yeah, it's vital to bring someone in, and I hope that we get that bit of business done over the line. With 3 weeks to go in the transfer window, it's not something that I particularly wanted to talk about in tonight's podcast, but transfers are, it's heating up. We've heard that Barcelona have come in for not just Lamar, but also Seri. I mean, how much business do you expect Arsenal to do in these remaining few weeks?
I'd like to think we'd be in for one or two more. I really would like to think we'd be in for one or two more, but you just never know with Arsene, and he's always very shrewd. He often will like to let it go down to the wire to see if he can get the best possible deal. And to be fair, with Barcelona's cash they've got now, that £200 million is going to be shifting players left, right, and centre all over Europe. So it'll be a knock-on effect, and you never know. Someone like Ozil or someone like Alexis of that quality could come available. And Arsene, to be fair to him, as always said, as a rise to sign a player with the squad, he will pay. He'll pay the money, and I believe he genuinely will. But I think we might have to be patient and see really what becomes available, because there's certainly going to be knock-on effects all over Europe with the moves that are about to happen and the money that Barcelona will spend. So, look, I think hopefully he's in the market to do a bit more business. I'll be waiting down to the wire, and I think hopefully we'll add one or two more, and we'll probably see 3 or 4 maybe depart the club.
Definitely. So we've just had the curtain raiser, as you put it at the start of the video, with the Community Shield, but this Friday sees the return of the Premier League. Absolutely buzzing for it. Can't wait. Home game against Leicester. We notoriously don't start well. Last season, what a game. Losing 4-3 to Liverpool. That was absolutely horrendous, being 4-1 down to them at one point. After what was such a good start by Theo Walcott, beautiful goal we scored right across goal, that typical finish that you see from Theo Walcott. But we've got a very, very, not to undermine Leicester, but we've got a winnable game here. Let's be realistic with the team we've got, should be putting Leicester to one side with our ambitions. And I know that you can't take anything for granted in the Premier League, but at home to a Leicester City side that didn't do particularly well last year, we've got to be having the beating of them. With the team we've got, with the performance I saw yesterday, I'm confident that we can get a win against this Leicester City side. What are your thoughts going into that game on Friday, mate?
Yeah, it's huge. Not just Friday, I think for the whole season, I think we drastically need to improve at home. We need to make the Emirates a fortress. Far too many occasions we drop silly points against silly sides and silly games, and drawing 0-0 against Middlesbrough last season, and then situations like that, the Liverpool game. I mean, realistically, for someone like Arsenal Football Club, you should be looking to go like Spurs did, unbeaten last season, and I don't think that's an unrealistic scenario. Obviously, you will always have the odd game where things don't go to plan, and you do have situations, but you do want to be challenging for titles. Your home form is so vital, and teams like Leicester, it won't be easy, but like you said, we should have enough about us. We've got the depth of the squad. We should have enough options to change the game if needed. Hopefully, we can get an early goal and get in front, and hopefully Mike Dean doesn't play, because he's opening the season for us, which is absolutely brilliant, eh? But hopefully we do kick on and really start to perform well at home and make the Emirates a fortress and make them there, because far too many occasions teams have come to the Emirates and took points off us when they really shouldn't have. So yeah, Leicester will be. It's the season opener. We're ready. We look ready at the weekend. We've got players to come back in, world-class footballers to come back into this squad. So we do start on the right foot and pick up the result.
You mentioned there the calibre of players we've got coming back in, the likes of Alexis, Ozil, Koscielny. Well, obviously after Koscielny's suspension, he will return to the team, you'd assume. But with all these players coming back, with the horde of quality we've got, I know it's quite a pressing question, but what would your strongest 11 be for the length of this campaign, assuming that we don't go on to sign anybody from here?
I think if we're gonna stick with three at the back, personally, if we're gonna stick with that, obviously I'd go. Me personally, I'd probably play Mustafi as the centre of the three, because I feel that it restricts his game to a point where issues with Mustafi's game, or where he gets too advanced, he gets sucked in and he gets too excited. So I think if you can sit him in that hole, he's a leader, distribute, let him relax and watch the game in front of him, I think he will benefit from that greatly. I'd have Koscielny on the left of the three, and it's a toss-up. That right centre-back role, I think when Gabriel's fit, there's a chance for him. There's Holding. There's someone who's going to take that right centre-back role, so I can't nail that, and I think that's up for grabs. Left wing-back, Kolasinac. Right wing-back, Bellerin. Middle of the park will be going Xhaka, Ramsey, Ozil and Alexis behind Lacazette, and that's probably our play. But I think you've got to be open to not marrying yourself to one style, and I think we could easily switch to a 4. The players that can come in, if you switch to 4-2-3-1 during a game and you put Walcott on wings and Olivier Giroud up front, you've got a completely different proposition. So we've got options and we've got styles, and I like for a run for his money from the Ox. We've got Kolasinac, you've got Monreal, the centre backs, you've got Per, Holding, Gab. All these people, Chambers if he stays there, all going to be fighting for positions, and I want the squad to know that, guaranteed, until you start putting in performances. There'll be horses for courses over the season, and like I remember speaking quite in depth to Clive at the start, we were just saying Wenger's job and what we're worried about Arsene Wenger is his ability to manage the squad and choose the correct players for the correct games and keep people fit and keep them ticking over. So he's got a huge task on his hand. That's what I'd probably start the season with. I'm excited to see that trio of Alexis, Ozil and Lacazette, and I'll link up play when they do play. And I mean, our fullback should be looking between them to get 10 in them, I'd have said, and they're going to create a hell of a lot, because they're a real outlet. And we're still growing into this formation. We're getting stronger. We're getting more and more used to it, and we've got options, mate. So that would be my 11, but I'm not sure if you'd probably make a few changes there. But
no, I'll let mine be a secret for now, and I'll reveal it once the transfer window has come to an end. But finally, on a final note, I just want to take a few questions that we've got. We've only got 2, but they are 2 certainly worth answering. First one in from Dragomir Vardarov. Apologies if I've said that wrong, but what do you make of the Jacket Elneny partnership? Should they be given a chance in the first few games?
sorry, mate, say that again. It was going like a robot. What do I make the
Yeah,
jacket?
no,
What?
I'm not surprised, mate. I think you might be a little bit delayed. I'm not too sure. But I'll tell you what, just for the purposes of that, I'll just keep it to the one question. What do you make of the jacket on any partnership, and should they be given a chance in the first few games?
Jacket El Neni, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the one. What do you make of them?
Right, I've got it now, mate. Right. Yeah, I think El Neni had a very, very good game yesterday, and he probably, like I said, had his best game in an Arsenal shirt. And I can understand why people like him, but my thought process here is if he could be more dangerous in at both ends, he's just sort of he keeps the ball ticking over, and he done very well yesterday. But he's not very progressive. He's not going to get you assists. He's not going to get on the end of goals. He's a squad player, and he's someone to have in there. But I wouldn't be getting carried away. And I know certain people might suggest that he should start the season alongside Xhaka. That for me, that isn't the two. But I'm open to that in certain games, and he certainly played well yesterday, and he can be proud of his performance. And he was constantly available for the ball. He shifted the ball well. He moved it nice and quick, and he's very simplistic. And I think that's what people like about him. But I do think over the course of a season, I'm not sure he's got the required quality to be our number one midfielder to play alongside Granit Xhaka. But that's not saying there isn't going to be games where he would fit right in there and it would work. But it's all about utilising his squad, and hopefully people can keep him form, keep fit, and he's certainly got a part to play as has Jack Wilshere hopefully this season. And I think me personally, I like the excitement, I like the risk taking, I like the fact that Xhaka with them three centre backs behind them can go on and create chances and get on the end of things and score goals and provide that third man run that defences can't deal with. You can't deal with it. So I like the excitement in midfield, and a lot of other people will like the sort of the Mohamed El Neni who's going to retain possession and not take any risks. So it's each to their own, isn't it? I just think that with this new formation, it gives the freedom for that central midfielder to really be a goal scoring threat and a box to box engine, which I think we've got a few players in our squad that can do that. But yeah, if Mo El Neni could add sort of an attacking prowess to his game, he's certainly the way he keeps the ball, it'd be great. So he's going to have minutes.
Certainly, and I think he's got that in his locker as well. We saw before we bought him at Basel, he was always getting forward, was quite renowned for scoring a few goals. So if you can come out of his shell a little bit more, stop being so conservative, we've got a very exciting player on our hands. And for 5 million as well, looks like a good bit of business for a player that's, utility player, will be useful for certain games when the likes of Ramsey, etc., are injured or just, maybe need to miss a game or two. So, yeah, it's good to have Oneni firing on all fronts. And I think last season, maybe he was shedding a bit of a bad light playing in games alongside the likes of Francis Coquelin, which was such a redundant midfield. I hated that midfield too. It's kind of like Arteta Flamini, but Coquelin and Oneni, absolutely
it's bad.
But I'll tell you what, mate, we've been doing this for about 45 minutes now. Final question I'm going to bring to you. Your score prediction for the game against Leicester.
I'm going 3-1. I'm going Nene's account. He'll open the scoring. I think Alexis will play, and I think Alexis will score, and I think Giroud will come on and top it off. Top it off quite late in the last 10 minutes, and we'll win 3-1.
Brilliant. That'd be a nice win. But I'm hoping we keep a clean sheet, and I'm going to go for 2-0 to the Arsenal. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you ever so much for coming on this evening. And apologies to anyone that was eagerly awaiting for Rob's return to the podcast. Hopefully he's just a bit hungover and we can get him on for the next pod. We'll be back on Sunday, 9 o'clock again, and we're going to be throughout the course of the season every Sunday, every Sunday or Monday, depends on what game we play on the weekend. But we want to keep this as consistent as possible. Something that myself and Rob talking about it yesterday. We're all very excited about how it's going to go, and yeah, hopefully you can all be a part of that journey. But thanks for coming on tonight, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's a new celebration for the season. The old Kolanisak wank. I'm happy with that.
You'll have to tweet that, mate. Anyway, yeah, as I say, mate, thanks for coming on, and thanks to everyone that tuned in tonight on a Monday evening. Great viewing numbers as always, and we'll be back next Sunday, 9 o'clock. But for now, thank you for watching, and enjoy the game on Friday, which will hopefully be an Arsenal win. Speak to you soon.